Well, hello and welcome back to Rudgy, aka the Doctor, you lovely 520 something people I've got that are subscribed now. If you've just joined us and stumbled across us, please subscribe because it helps me enormously. While we're on the subject, those of you who follow me on a regular basis might be interested to know that when I get back to Kefalonia, February, March, there'll be some new business cards with the details on. So if you bump into me in the street, you're quite welcome to have one of those. I'll sign the back if you want me to. Oh dear. Anyway, yeah, there's new business cards. There will be some merchandise. I'm sorting that out at the moment. Eventually, probably not this year. Maybe towards the end of the year if I'm lucky. I'm also going to set up a Patreon page to see. I'm going to explore that and see how that goes. Obviously, if people are going to subscribe to the Patreon page, I want something a little bit extra. So I'm going to try and find something that I can chuck in that makes it worthwhile people subscribing. Yeah, I'm getting a bit more serious about the channel now. I've had some very nice comments. I've had one or two that weren't quite as nice, but generally people seem to like what I do. So I'd like to carry on doing it, but unfortunately, I have to take time out of the working week in order to do it. So let's get on with the video. Last week I posted some Kefalonia bits and pieces for you because I know that a lot of you watch me because of my Kefalonian exploits and thought you may be missing that, so I'd saved one up and I chucked it in. I think it was called Living in Kefalonia Part 3. If you scroll down the vids you'll find it, and it was about me riding around on my bike. Anyway, back to normal. I've been in the UK since November. I'm going to be here till February, March at this rate, I would think. Trying to earn enough money to go back home. So, what have I been doing this week? Well, this week I've been working on a ferry, which those of you who follow me will know I've been working on a ferry. Well, the guy came out, the owner came out to look at it and was very pleased with what Andy had done. And I said to him I was going to run a video. He seemed quite happy about that. So now I can tell you what the ferry was. It's the Dittisham Belle. It runs, well, as we would pronounce it down here, Dittisham as it's spelt. It runs between Greenaway and Dittisham and lands on the pontoon outside the ferry boat inn. Nice place to go and have a meal and have a drink on a nice sunny afternoon. Greenaway is where Agatha Christie's place is, for those of you who are thinking, that rings a bell. Yeah, Agatha Christie's involved. So I'm quite honoured really to want to be working with my best mate Andy on a boat, because I learn a lot when I'm working with Andy and he's good fun to work with. And two, I've worked on something that I think is quite famous in this area. I've passed it many a time, not only on my old boat Jorro but this one, Sovereign Bay. Yeah, and I've been on the ferry once or twice, so yeah, it was a big thing for me to work on that. So me and Andy have been working away quite hard all week. We've managed to finally get the thing finished, and it gets splashed in tomorrow morning, 7 AM. I'll be asleep, Andy. Sorry about that, but I've had it. I've been working 7 days a week, and now I'm quite tired, and doing some long shifts as well. So, without further ado, shall we have a look at the video? Why not? This is what we've been up to. Go back to the UK, they said, earn some money, they said, then you won't have to work all summer, they said. Well, -7 last night. I have to say, Sovereign Bay must be fairly well insulated because the heaters were on in the bedroom last night. I don't know whether you can see that, but there's still ice on the roof. Anyway, I'm off to work. Even the creek's got ice on it. I don't know whether you can see that. But there's ice floating on the creek. And that is salt water. Oh well. Going over there now to work with Andy. At least the sun's out. Trouble is, Dolphin Boatyard doesn't get any sun in the winter, so it'll probably be like this when we get back tonight. There you go, Frozen Creek. I'm thinking it was probably a bit lower than 7 last night down there. Anyway, I've cleaned the windscreen on the van yet. Happy days. There you go. Let's hope the locks aren't frozen up. As you can see, you just wait for it to soften up and it scrapes right off. But I find that if you keep the heat gun on it as you go along, an idea, it's better, shows up better on the front, on the forward deck. Ready for sanding that area there, obviously. I'll best crack on. Yeah, well, as you can see, well, I don't know whether you can because it's not really showing up. Let's have a. We've had to reline the gazebo, the tent, whatever you're going to call it, the garage that we've got the boat in, because if I come up here, I don't know whether you can see that, the floor's soaking wet, and this is just starting to dry out now. But as you can see, everything was soaking wet up here. What me and Andy came up with was double glazing. I just happened to have a load of polythene, so what we've done is we've lined the inside of the tent with this polythene, and hopefully that'll stop the condensation. We're also going to put some heaters in, because obviously trying to varnish in these temperatures isn't going to work either, and that should be.
She's been shot blast a few years ago, and it's taken a lot of the nail heads off, which in effect isn't very strong. There you go, look. Nothing left on that at all. So
There's a new one there.
there's a nail, look. See him?
There's a nail there.
And the rove goes on there.
Rove's going on the top.
And then you use the rove punch, which is bored a hole down through, which allows the copper washer or rove to be driven up. That's a tight drift, so that acts as a clamp, and then let's see what I'm doing with it. When you snip it off about 2 mil from the rove to allow enough material to rub it back.
And you rivet it over.
You on him, Nick?
Yeah. So you can see what Andy's doing. Let's just show you what Nick's doing the other side. This is Andy's son here. Nick, who's holding the so.
And there it
There
is.
you go.
All riveted up.
All riveted up. In the meantime, I've managed to get all the seats, all the benches stripped, all the varnish work on there, both forward deck and aft deck. Now this is an interesting point. I don't know whether it's showing up on the camera, but this boat was shot blasted, and Andy will tell you, he'll get all cross about this in a minute. Never shot blast a wooden boat, because if you do, I don't know whether it's showing up, but you can't get the, it's called the soft grain out. I left the hard, so that's raised, and where my fingernail's gone, that's low. Look at that, what Andy's made. Right, so the next mission is to primer all the heads of the nails that Andy and Nick have replaced, which I've done. I've had to wire brush the heads off, get rid of any loose paint, and then just lightly sand them back, because we'll primer them again, and then it'll get a etch back and some cream paint put on. And I'm in the process now, because you can't paint that, can you? So I'm in the process now of drying it out, because it's damp, and cleaning it off. And that little area there has probably took me best part of half an hour to an hour. I'd say about an hour actually. Each one of these has got shot glass built up on it, as you can see there. Big lumps of it. You have to dry it off first and then hoover it out. I'm now going to wire brush the heads off, give it a quick wipe over, then I'll give it a bit of an etch with some paper, and then I can primer it. Found a rotten plank here, and it's behind this rubbing straight, so that's going to have to come off. So there you go, I've now ground the heads off the rows like this with a grinder, and then punched them through with a punch. And then Andy down there, my glamorous assistant, or is it the other way around? I think it might be the other way around. Anyway, yeah, he's now pulling the rivets out so that we can take the plank off. So Andy's just been explaining how we're going to get the planking off the stern, the good plank, because obviously there's a good plank and a bad plank. One's very naughty and one's not quite so naughty. So he's been explaining how we're going to get that one off without damaging the end of it. What did you say, Andy?
Well, the planking has a diminishing rebate. So you've got to be very, very careful of where you cut the rivets.
I don't know why that's funny. I just
You're not used to such long words.
No, we don't use them in the mechanic butchery
like
area.
Spectacular.
Spectacular, yeah.
Can't see anything breaking here. We'll have to keep an eye open for the wedges.
Yeah.
Because every other timber there's a supporting wedge. There you go.
Tip that on its side a minute. Look at the shape of that. See, you learn something every day with Andy. Every day is a school day.
Flip it over. See where the rot is. Look. All the way up through. All through the middle of the plank.
Oh, another day, another dime. What are you doing, Andy?
I'm sanding, Rogie.
He's sanding. Oh yeah, he's put some. Well, you can explain what these are.
But these are chafing battens, because this is the side that comes to the quay where everybody embarks and disembarks, and yeah, get the odd bump and scrape every now and again. So this is like a sacrificial piece.
I've seen those on fishing boats.
Yeah, that's where they haul all the pots and nets up over.
Yeah.
And it damages the battens rather than the main planking.
Yeah, yeah, because there's a bit of damage on this side, wasn't there, originally?
Yeah, yeah. This is the side that she comes to on. So yeah, bit of protection for the future. Keep her sweet.
Yeah. So I'll go and have a look at the plank you put in now.
Yeah, that's if you can find it.
Yeah, because he is that good. So here we go. And Andy has made this up. Look how superbly fitted that is. If that once that's blended in, once the sun's been on it, it's gone a bit darker, you'll never know he's been there. My first task today is, as you can see, all the nails have been riveted over. We'd already primed most of those, so now I'm going to have to go along again and prime them again, which is what I've been doing up here. And then hopefully later on today, when that's dry, I'll start glossing and it will look like that side. So there we are. Andy's gone round the whole boat now and stained it in. You can hardly make out where the new plank is. I've been round inside and glossed her up. So time for a shower. Hey?
Varnishing.
Oh, he's not mucking about today then.
No time to muck about today. Busy day.
There you go, that's a wash coat. So, how many wash coats are you going to put on, Andy?
3.
3 wash coats.
It's 50 with white spirit. Very thin coat, so it soaks right into the wood. Goes in nice and deep. And then we're going to go 75% varnish with 25% white spirit. And then we'll go 80% varnish with 20% spirit. And then we're on to the full coat, which is what we call build coats. And you get a gentle flat back with 240 grit paper in between each coat, just to knock the tops off, to give it a nice smooth appearance. Yeah, so there we go.
So there you go. See, now that looks all lovely and shiny, doesn't it? But it's a wash coat and it's designed so that it will sink in, and then you can build it up. You get a nice, it adheres to the wood better, I reckon.
Yeah.
Talking from a bit of experience I've got. But there you go, that's the side that Andy's done. And as you can see, it's starting to tack off now. Date. It didn't show up very well on the last video, but what we were talking about, as you can see, if I can get the camera in there, there's a good, what, 10 mil there, and then it comes back here and finishes completely flush. Diminishing rebate. What are you doing, Andy?
Mucking about, Reggie.
So Andy's mucking about again. We're off to the workshop in a minute to weld something up, which I'll show you in a bit. Andy's been busily wet coating and now he's glossing the varnish areas, as you can see. I'll show you the boat hull in a minute, but she's going to look very nice. These are all wet coated in there. All the deck boards have been primered. They're awaiting the next coat. So let's start where the plank was replaced, which was oh, well, where was it? I think it might be this one. There you go. The only part that Andy's having problems with is this bit here, because when he goes home of a night, obviously the heaters have to go off because it's very dangerous to leave them on, and the wind blows this way, so that gets cold first. Although now it's dried out, it's looking a little bit better than it did, so hopefully we got away with that. So he's glossed all the way around. I think we're on 2 coats now, I think.
2 coats of full.
So
5 coats in total.
5 coats in total, but two gloss coats. So look at that. If it was me, you see the Dittisham Belle there? I would leave that like that. I think that's really cool. But they're going to put a new sign thing on. Anyway, I've been primering this for the life rings. I've been primering down there because we're going to do a bit of engineering in a minute, which I'll show you right now. I'm just waiting for Andy and we're going down to the workshop. I've got to weld some lugs on this because it goes up underneath. And you can see there's a lug there. Look, I've got to weld some lugs on so we can attach it because they run it up the beach, and the one that used to be there had completely disappeared. So yeah, I'm going to make that. Andy has I've taught Andy how to form metal. We needed a slight curve in it. I don't know whether you can see that. So Andy says, oh well, how are we going to do that? I said, run the van over it. And that's what we did, and it's perfect. It absolutely fits perfectly. So that is the shape of a transit wheel on gravel. So Andy's had to go. He's got to go and sort his dad out and get the shopping, him and Jenny. So I ain't got nothing else to do, so I said I'd work on. I'm now scuffing off the coat of varnish Andy put on, but just keying it and taking any imperfections out so that Andy can put another coat on, because we've got 3 days to get this done, really, and it goes back in the water, and we're against it with the drying time. So I've scuffed that now. I don't know whether, can we see around that side how shiny that is? Yep, there you go. See how shiny that is? And that's the side that I've keyed. Just basically giving the varnish a chance to key. I mean, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because it hasn't actually tacked off completely. There you go, that's the side that I haven't done yet. That's the side I have. I've got the tiller to do. The other thing we've done is I made up this this plate, which we've got I've made it a tight fit so Andy could let it into the keel. I thought it'd be better tight than loose. Andy's now going to chisel out some little pieces so that it will slide in place, and then we're going to drill through there and put bolts through to hold it in place. That's so when it runs up the beach, it's sacrificial, it will damage that rather than the keel, because the old one had fell off, rotted long since. And Andy's been putting new keel bolts in. There you go, stainless steel ones. Now let me just explain how this works, because I've learnt a lot off Andy. Now there you go, threaded bar. So what you do is you take your corking cotton, you pull a little strand off, so that strand there, pull a little strand off, you put a washer and a nut on there and wind the nut down till it's flush, and then you wind the corking cork round to about there and make a big washer out of that, and then you push it up through the hull and put a nut and washer to the other side and tighten it up, and it squashes this corking out, corking cotton. And then back in the day I suppose they'd red lead that, but we've got all sorts of things we can use now to go in the hole, and that makes that watertight because the corking cotton swells and stops the water from going through the hull, and of course the hull will contract and swell up with the water. Yeah, there's bolts all the way along there, keel bolts. So there you go, that's that explained. So that plate will be flush eventually. This piece here will be flush with that when Andy's let it in. The steel plate I've got that I've cut back that you saw the other week, that will go on there, and she'll be able to run up and down the beach without damaging herself. So Andy's made me a cup of coffee, and off he's gone. I've now got the other side of the boat to do. I better crack on. Catch you in a bit. So I just thought I'd see if I could show you this. Look how lovely the grain is on that. I reckon that's probably oak. I don't know. Andy will tell me tomorrow when I see him. But yeah, look at that. Look how lovely the grain is. That would probably be mahogany. Well, I think it is mahogany. But yeah, varnishing stuff really brings out the grain, doesn't it? Don't think you can see this side now, move the light. But this side, especially when it was varnished, looked lovely. I've scuffed it off now, so Andy's ready to varnish tomorrow. I've got all that to do yet, so I'd best crack on. What are you doing, Andy?
Getting very sticky and very hot.
Oh, you're not mucking about then?
Very frustrating. I'm hoping this is the final coat.
Yeah.
On the outside anyway.
Yeah, because it keeps blooming, we're going to have to keep the heater running, which means that me and Andy are down to underpants later on tonight. But what we do in the privacy of our own work tent. As you can see, Andy there brushing the final coat on. Now comes out with the roller. Yes, and he's done it. He's rolled it.
No, for the tippet.
And now he's going to tip it. Just takes all the bobbly bits out of the roller. There you go. And that's how that's done. Now hopefully this coat doesn't bloom. We're having a lot of trouble with the damp, the cold. Generally the whole atmosphere wasn't conducive to a good finish. But we're going to stick around tonight and make sure the heater stays on as late as we can possibly leave it. Obviously we can't leave that unattended. There you go. That's the finish. I've coloured up all the bits and pieces now. I've just got this one door to do here, about to do a major repair on that, which is all in primer now. And then we'll start in there. Yeah. Doing, Andy?
Trying to get the water line right.
Yeah.
It's friggin' quite difficult.
Rather you than me.
Yeah.
So what we've got to do is, this has got to be anti-fouled. Well, obviously you don't want a wobbly edge all over there, like blah, blah, blah. So Andy's putting a nice clean edge there for me to anti-foul up to, and then we'll put the boot top on there, and it will look absolutely beautiful. Except you won't see it because it'll be under the water. Proving to be a little bit tricky, this one. Andy usually just walks around the boat with a line of tape and gets it right first time, but so many people have done this before. See, that's not right, the way that goes up there, because we reckon the water line's about there. Anyway, onward and upward. We've got to give this another coat. I've prepped all the inside now, so that can have another coat. All looking good. And if you stand around long enough, you'll see the Thomas in his usual environment, posing for the camera there. What he was actually doing was, if we get down to Andy's level, which is about 7 years old, about here, you can see he was making sure that the tape lines were right. Yeah, he's struggling with this. I've seen him do him a lot quicker than this one. But that's the thing with Andy, he likes to get it right. So, I'm going to go and get the milk for the coffee now. Right, well it's nearly 6 o'clock. Anyway, all the interior flatted, prepped, hoovered out, ready to be glossed up tomorrow. Apparently that's going to be my job. Putting another coat of varnish on. I've prepped the stern here, the transom. We needed another coat on that, and the rudder has been re-prepped because it bloomed. So Andy went home. He couldn't take any more with his water line. To be honest, it's not often you see Andy struggle with something like that. But as you can see, whoever did the water line before, a few people have had a go at it, and it was up here. Not much we can do about that. It wants to be there, really. He knows where it should be. It's just making it look right with what everybody else has done. So I'm off to get some tea. It'll be tomorrow for you lot in a second. So here we go, another day, another dime. So last night I flatted all the stern off, and this morning we decided that we didn't like the way the anti-foul was uneven there, and the water line comes to there. So I heat gunned the bottom of that area off and stripped it, give it a very light sanding and then stained it, and now we're going to wash coat it a couple of times, stick some varnish over it, and then when we revarnish that over the top, I don't think you'll see it. Andy's managed to get the water line in, and again I had to take the anti-foul off there because it was a bit high at the stern and stain that, and again I don't think you'll see it once it's done. So what am I doing at the minute? Well, before we go inside and varnish the seats, I'm now priming up the area that has got varnish on it. As you can see, we've sanded that back, priming up to the water line so that I can anti-foul that up to that there, and then there will be a boot top line where the green tape is. As you can see, my cutting in's not bad. Well, I hope it's not. I hope Andy's alright with that. I've gone up to his pencil marks, so we'll see. There you go, just like that. It's night time and the whole underside of the boat has been anti-fouled. I have to say, it's not one of my favourite jobs, but I do have a tip. It doesn't matter what you do, you will get it everywhere. So buy a gallon of brake cleaner at your local motor factors. That gets it off. And also, let's face it, brake cleaner is really good for degreasing things and cleaning things up generally, so it's always handy to have around if you've got a boat. But yeah, so it'll need another coat of that yet. Andy's got to put the boot top in, which will be white. But yeah, and that wasn't masked, that was me cutting in. So we'll need some more of that stuff. Right, here we go. Another day, another dime. A couple of seconds for you lot, really. As you can see, Andy's revarnished the stern, the transom. It did bloom, but we've managed to sort that out. Well, Andy has. Managed to get all the bloom out of the tiller. That's looking lovely again, and we're marked up for the boot top. I've just got to put the anti-foul on now. So yeah, and as I said, you can't actually see where I'd sanded it out. So yeah, we got away with that nicely. So I'd better crack on and do another few hours anti-fouling. It's a tough job, but somebody has to do it, I expect. So yeah, see if Andy's mucking about. What are you doing, Andy?
Still mucking about.
See, I told you he would be.
Yeah. There's always muck to bait with.
Let's go and have a look and see what the progress is on the Dittisham Belle. Or, if you're from these parts, Dittisham. And yes, Terry Wilson, there is an R in Bath. Right, let's go up here. As you can see, if I hold the camera down there, I've varnished all the seating in the front, all the seating in the back, and the knees, which are those bits there, of course. So we're just on watch now while the heater's on, because obviously we've had a few issues with the varnish blooming. So we'll have to hang on a bit tonight to let that settle off so that it doesn't bloom with the damp. Now, on the stern, as you can see, Andy's put the boot top in. I painted that on yesterday, 2 coats. Andy put the first one on, and I've anti-fouled the rudder. Underneath's had 3 coats as well. We're just putting all the bright work back on there, which is a task in itself. If I walk up the front, you'll see Andy mucking about in a minute. So there you go, looking down the boat, looking really pretty. There you go, see Andy's just sticking the...
Final piece of convex in. The other piece was broken. So, well, yeah.
Yeah, so we're having to replace that bit.
A piece we had in stock, so...
Couldn't see it,
it needs to be centre punched and re-drilled, countersunk, same as this.
Oh, they got these level on this side. Yeah, let me show you.
There's a couple that have...
See, now you see that one? That one's in the centre. And that one, well,
Not guilty!
We didn't do that, by the way. Maybe we're just being a bit critical, but yeah. But that's the difference, you see, that's why people come to Andy. So, floorboards in, bits of paintwork to go back in. It's not far off now. So there's the famous work bus. I just got in before Andy. I seem to get in before my bosses quite a lot lately. But it is Sunday, so I saw Andy walking the dogs earlier. We're both a bit tired. Been working quite hard. So let's have a look and see what we've done on the Belle. As you can see, the yard's fairly busy. Let's go and have a look, see what's going on. Right, well, as you can see, put all the bright work back on. Boot top and anti-foul's done. I'm now working on the engine covers. This one wasn't too bad. Excuse me. This one's needed some repairs. They had some price boards on there which were stuck down. When we took them off to paint, it took all the paint and a bit of the woodwork with it, so I've had to clean those up and sort them out. Can't just put them back on like that really now. Not at this stage in the game. So life rings down there ready to go back on. Being as I'm first in, I'd best put the heater on and get the place ready for Andy. Right, so here's a top tip. I don't know whether you can hear me over the heater. But as you can see, the bright work's a bit dull because we've cleaned it up. Back here, I don't know how well that's picking that up. It's quite shiny. In fact, I've just done that cap there, which goes up on there. See how shiny that is? That's due to this stuff. And if you fancy sponsoring me, Alu, I'll sing your praises, because I really do think that's a very good product. I've been using that on the bikes I've built for a number of years, and it's very good stuff. Doesn't take much effort to get a shine. I mean, if you look at this piece here, that's what that was like. I don't know how shiny it's showing that up to be. Let's put the two together and you'll see the difference. Literally takes a few seconds. If something's already polished and it's gone off a little bit, you rub that stuff on and it comes up very nicely. I'll just crack on. So now the sun's come out, it's showing up the alu polish a little bit better. There you go, before and after. Right, so it's 6 o'clock. I'm starting to get a bit weary now. It's a Sunday. I'll put the door back on, put the new catches that Andy got on, put all the brasswork back in place and polished it up. I put that cupboard door back on and the little panels each side, but as you can see, that fits where it touches. But that's not what we fitted. So if Andy had made that, he wouldn't have even seen the gaps. But whether he's going to do something with that, I don't know, because like I said before, it's all been done to a bit of a budget. Anyway, I polished all the brasswork, put all that back in. Couldn't refit that because it needs a little bit of trim work, so Andy's going to have a look at that. Don't think you can see much else. Like I say, I've polished all the brasswork up. I've just got the starboard side to do. Anyway, that's another day. I think the next time you see this will be outside. Exciting times. So that's the Dittisham Belle. Well, it's another day here in the work tent over at MDL's yard, Dart side. So, the surveyor's been, and well, the news isn't too bad. Andy's got to go and get a bit of pipe. He's got to put a split pin in. I'll show you actually. Got to put a split pin in there, and a few other bits and pieces. So today we're going to put all the floor back in, and the engine covers back on that I prepped and painted yesterday. And I'm just in the middle now of finishing off the odd bits and pieces of polishing. I'll just show you how that's done. You see, that's one side that I've nearly completed. This side here, you could probably polish that with some alu and it would come up, but it'd take you forever. So I'm using a little bit of wet and dry, a really fine grade of it. I mean, if you can get 1200 or something like that and then work even higher than that, then you'll get a lovely shine on it. But of course this will get polished by the ropes anyway, so and again, it's been done to a budget, so got to be quick with it. So it's only going to get one grade of polish and then one grade of sanding, sorry. And then what I'm going to do is go over that with the alu, and it will come up like that, and like the rest of the brasswork. Anyway, I'd best crack on. Andy?
Ta-da! Today I am not mucking about. I'm finishing jobs off.
Oh, that means we've got to work.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. But there we go. Yep.
Anyway, tent's down.
It's a mess inside.
Get a better view of it now. Look at that. So that's the finished article, one very pretty boat. Better get on with putting the fenders back on it and stuff, I suppose. There you go, as you can see, yesterday I put all the floorboards back in and the engine cover back on and did a bit of snagging. And she goes back in the water tomorrow. I think it's probably an early splash, so I won't be about. I'm going back to the motor trade for a few days now. So that's the Dittisham Belle, and doesn't it look lovely? It's been a great privilege working with my mate Andy. I learn a lot of him, as I said earlier. And we've had some very nice comments. People have been in and out the work tent as the job's progressed. The guy who owned it seemed very happy with it. His staff seemed very happy with it. So let's hope that you lot out there that use it are happy with it too. And when you get on and off it, be careful with it. It's an old boat and it needs some love. So what happens next? Well, hopefully I'll fly back to Kefalonia around February, March. Hopefully I'll have pulled in enough money to be able to stay there for a while, because you know that's why I'm here, and it's why I've worked so hard. This year's been a bit of an experiment. I've been doing 7 days a week. I don't think that is sustainable for much longer. I did have some time off over Christmas, and in fact I'll probably have tomorrow off to edit this video, because I'm very tired. So when I go back to Kefalonia, there will be lots of shenanigans. I plan to try and visit the surrounding islands. There are 7 Ionian islands. I'd like to visit them all. I went out to Zakynthos some years ago. In actual fact, I sang out there quite a few times with a band and a duo. Dave, if you're watching, that was good fun. I'd like to do it again. And I'll buy your wife a pizza and a brandy. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, I'd like to do the 7 Ionian Islands, so that would mean going to Zakynthos again. I haven't been to Ithaca yet, and people can't believe I haven't, and I can't believe I haven't. So maybe I'll go to Ithaca first because it's the nearest one. I have been to Lefkada, although I'd like to have a ride around that island. It's where we brought Nikki and the Black Pearl. You probably saw the video on that. So yeah, there's plenty of stuff coming up. I'm going to be starting a Patreon page, as I said earlier. Lots of exciting things happening in 2023. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, share, tag, follow, all the stuff that helps me, and subscribe. Sit back and enjoy the ride. If you see me out and about, give me a shout, and I'll come over and say hello. I'm not some superstar. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.